Hello and welcome. My name is Kevin. This is Stuart for Bruce here in CK3, once more with another time lapse for you all. This time we've gone ahead and shattered the Saxon kingdom into all the different kingdoms, all run by their children. So we have a smattering of different children, all Herculean, beautiful, and geniuses, saying who regionally does better than other ones. My guess right at the top, England is probably going to have a very successful go at it just because they're one of the larger kingdoms. And then for religion, we still have pagan as the main religion. I don't see that going away as the majority. We might see them switch back to old pagan, but paganism will still reign supreme. Culture-wise, Old Saxon will stay the same, except for I imagine there will be some changing here and there. And then finally, let's see what court languages everybody speaks. Right now, everybody speaks Greek as the court language, just probably because that's what the father was. But everybody actually speaks Anglic. But for now, I think that's where we'll leave it for our predictions. And let us see what happens in this time lapse. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, here we are with 336 years in the future. Things have changed. There's a lot more border gore, a lot less cleanliness between the different kingdoms. But before we get into that, let's just cover one small thing before that. This time lapse took a while. Let's just say that. Every time you saw any change in the positioning of the camera or anything like that, that was about 5 or 6 hours change. So about total of about 20 hours to make this time lapse get to this far. I don't know if the game just doesn't like it when there's this many rulers all at once and it has to do a lot more processing, but I think maybe because they're all family, that might have had a much more taxing aspect to it. But with that, let's actually look at the the families. Is our founding family still in power? It looks like there are not a lot of, For the most part, they are bubbled to the top. We also have this family over here, but for the most part, it looks like, yeah, they are reigning supreme. Crushed all the divine legacies, or dynastic legacies, sorry. Except for customs, maybe just because they hadn't had access to this yet, just because of the DLC. We'll go through religion first, and as you can see, we have paganism as our top faith. We've got some old pagan sticking around, people reverting back to that. Let's see if there's any other. Actually, Asatru has still claim to power, but everybody else is pretty much done, and I'm seeing them right here. Family members, yeah, one of the family members has decided probably taking a stress event, or their father took a stress event, or their grandfather took a stress event. It seems like we have a pretty monocultural old Saxon. Got some Butri here and there, but we've got some Bestian, we've got Majorcan. It's funny because it looks like all these little island nations. I wonder if it's just like because they're small duchies, they don't have as much prestige that is necessary. Diverged their new from an old to a new thing. It's very interesting that that happens only mostly on these island nations. I wonder who runs Old Saxon. It's this dude, Lotharingians, probably because they have the strongest, the most land, but they aren't possibly the strongest. So with that segue, let's look at see who is the most troops with 23,000 troops. Is that probably because, nope, she is feudal. And then after that, we have Queen Elizabeth III, who is also sporting about 20,000 troops. And then after that, we have this Kham and then Lotharingia as the top military strengths in this game. Will we see any empire titles? Looks like no new empires were formed, probably due to the fact that nobody was able to get enough land to make it happen, too shy on the amount of kingdoms. So and also it's quite a bit of cash, so if anybody would have been able to do it, maybe Lotharingia or Burgundy here probably has a decent amount of land, but seems like every time they probably were to make that decision, the AI was missing one or two of the necessary requirements to make that happen. As I predicted, there is some Greek, mostly Greek, but Anglic has made an appearance, probably just because the AI's got to be contrarians like that. Government, let's look quickly and see if there's any crazy things. There's one tribal left, one republic, a handful of theocracies, but the world for the most part is just one giant feudal blue blob. That seems to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to comment, like, and say howdy to your neighbors. And as always, have a good rest of your day. Ciao.